This is the Exit Diaries. Today's diary entry is with Samuel Sarpong-Broni, a man who spent years in central London, in offices and corporate world, feeling like he didn't fit, chasing targets that kept moving, slowly being convinced that he was the problem, until he stepped onto the West End stage as Hamilton. But even that wasn't the end of the story. This is about what staying started to cost him, and what keeps moving after you've already left. Let's dive in. Sam, I want to start somewhere specific. Think about this and you're picturing that moment where you're backstage, your nerves are kicking in, the excitement's kicking in, you've got that famous jacket on, the audience is building up, the music starts, right? And you're there and you're like anxious to get on that stage. In that exact moment, just before you walk on as Hamilton with thousands of people in the crowd, do you feel like the guy who was bullied in the office and was pushed out of his job, or does someone else new step forward onto the stage?
It's a good question. I think the person I was before I went on stage, in comparison to the person I was in the office, going through what I went through, is the same. The only difference is the person in the office made decisions based on fear. So I would never follow what was within my instinct. But the person on stage who was about to go on as Hamilton made decisions based on what he was passionate about, what he cared about, what he loved. And I think that was the difference. So I never changed. I was just more willing to be who I was and no longer make decisions based on mediocrity, you know.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's so true though, right? Because, you know, the corporate office versus the stage, which is the other office, right? If we think about it, it's a job in a way. Different offices, of course, but you know, the office to the Hamilton West End stage, two different rooms, okay, two different environments, two different lives that you're living. Let's start with the office, because it's a moment where everybody can relate, a typical kind of Tuesday.
Yeah.
What did a typical Tuesday look like for you at a global film studio?
Yeah.
You worked for the biggest, at the time, the biggest Hollywood film studio in the world. Mm-hmm. What did a typical Tuesday look like for you in central London?
Making sure I got there on time, which was always an issue for me. And then going in, sitting in front of a desk, checking emails, picking up calls, checking more emails, doing more calls, doing meetings, trying to book clients, having targets, making sure I hit those targets, but then once those targets were hit, that target was then increased. So constantly feeling, you know, okay, more pressure, more pressure, more pressure.
Goalposts being moved.
Yeah, being moved. And I honestly felt like a fish out of water. I felt like I was trespassing, like I was in someone else's spot. Like I did not feel like comfortable at all.
In the office environment or the role or just everything as that was?
Everything, like the office environment, the role. I was fine with the people, of course, but it was just, I didn't feel like I fitted in.
So you didn't feel ultimately you were part of this corporate world that was a world that you had gone down yourself, ultimately, probably because it felt like it's what everyone else does.
Yeah.
Right? So you're in this predicament of, but I'm doing the right thing.
Yep.
Because that's what everyone else does. And what time was your train in the morning?
Like 8 o'clock.
So you're getting on the train with a million other people.
Yep. Crushed, by the way.
Crushed.
Just like
every single day. So you're in this tin can, crushing your body to get to work on time so that you didn't get told off by your boss, who was probably late anyway, themselves.
Yeah.
And every day was ultimately like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. It was like constant pressure. These are the targets you have to hit. These are the phone calls you need to do. These are the emails you need to answer. But it was the same thing every single day, like routine. And I guess that's with every single job. But I guess I was there and only doing it because that's what I thought I knew, you know?
Yeah.
So
I like it. And I mean, that's the Tuesday, right?
yeah.
And that's the life that you were living. And it could be also the life that someone's living now today without realizing it. And I know there's a wild story coming up. And I know, you know, you and I obviously had a chat off camera and how you ended up on the Hamilton stage. And honestly, I can't wait for the full version of it. And I'm going to be hearing it for the first time properly from you in front of. So my reaction's going to be as is everyone else's. And I know you're dying to tell us. Before we go into that, I want to specifically go back to the office life where you were. And when did you know deep down that you couldn't stay there?
I think when I realized that no matter how hard I tried, I just wasn't performing very well. So that was the first thing. The second thing was just being honest with myself. I constantly had like performance reviews. And it wasn't because I was like disruptive or not doing the work. I was genuinely trying to do the job, but I just wasn't hitting the targets that were set consistently. I'll hit it sometimes, but obviously they're paying me to do a role to hit targets consistently each month. And some months I'll hit it, some months I won't. And it's like a constant pressure. And I just had to be honest with myself, like, am I even good at this? What am I doing? Why am I here? You know, there's like that ego, the sense of ego. Sometimes you ignore it, but sometimes you listen to it. And when you listen to it, you end up making the wrong decisions.
Right.
My ego is telling me, you can do this, you know, just keep trying. And, you know, I know you've got a performance review coming up, but you'll be fine, you'll get through that. But then another one will come, and another one, and another one. And okay, this clearly isn't for me, and I'm not taking the action.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting you were saying there, the words you kept on using was I'm, me, why me, you know, and you were blaming yourself
Yeah.
for ultimately something that's not in your hands because you were trying.
Oh, yeah.
They gave you a task, you were aiming for the task, but ultimately you weren't able to get it. It's like someone who's trained for a 5K
Yeah.
has been told to run a marathon, but they're never going to be able to run the marathon without struggle.
Yeah.
They'll give it a good go.
Yeah.
Might have to walk a few times. They won't do it in 4 hours. But that's the difference. It wasn't your fault that you weren't hitting the targets, and it wasn't you that wasn't performing because you were coming in every day. You were doing the work that was being asked of you.
Yeah.
You were following the procedures and the tasks and everything else. It was ultimately the role that was making you feel that you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Would that be...
You hit the nail on the head.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
And so, you know, was there a moment where you just thought, I'm not fit for this? What is my options then if office life isn't for me?
Yeah. Yes, because obviously I was there for a few years and I managed to get on the property ladder, as you know. So there's like responsibilities. So
More weight.
exactly. So it was just fear-led decisions like, I've got to hit these targets. And, you know, it was sales over the phone, doing meetings. Wasn't really my, you know, thing.
Forte.
Not my forte. And I would spend, you know, I would have like rooms booked out to prepare for meetings. And instead of preparing for those meetings, I'd be like singing songs and like... But I think it was like a self-defense mechanism. It was my way of dealing with that pressure. Because I was generally trying to get along with everyone. It was fine, but I just couldn't do it. It was a stage where I had like an ultimatum. It was like a meeting, like to say, these are the targets that we've set again. And, you know, they made the targets more impossible for me to hit, if I'm being honest.
Right.
I think they had their way of trying to push me out, but in order for them to push me out, they had to create evidence to show that I wasn't good enough.
Right.
That was the honest truth.
The role itself become redundant, but they were unwilling to make you made redundant.
Exactly.
So they were wanting to force and push you out, and by doing so, they were making targets virtually impossible to meet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which then led to you having self-doubt, self-sabotaging, fear, pressure, anxiety, and potentially depression in some ways.
Yeah, looking back, definitely, yeah. I was in a very low place. But at the time, I didn't realize. It was only looking back I realized. And I just kept on thinking back to when I was about 18. And I was studying performing arts. And my teacher at the time said to me, why don't you go to a drama school? Or why don't you just do theatre or musical theatre? Why are you studying an English degree? And there's nothing wrong with studying an English degree. It's actually helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
But I kept on thinking back to that. And I think at that time, it was just like a realization that, damn, I should have listened to.
Right.
Where would I have been had I just taken that route?
Right.
You know, it was where. But then I think what changed was I was no longer thinking about I should have. It was more, how can I get back to that route?
Right.
I need to do something. Yeah.
Amazing. When the job title was taken away, obviously you were pushed out, and when that job title disappeared, the identity, you could say, when you weren't the Warner Brothers guy, right? The identity of, I'm no longer somebody who now tells people I work for Warner Brothers, I work in the film industry. So you're no longer that person anymore, and the identity is gone. What was left?
To be honest with you, I've always had a sense of who I am. I've always known I wanted to be a performer, but it was just making the decision. And then, so once I left that role, I realized there and then that, okay, a massive weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt light. So even though the situation was morbid and bad, I felt so light. I felt like, oh, okay, now I can actually do what I want. But I didn't make the decision straight away. It took me about a year or two before I decided to fully go for it.
And I guess in some way, though, would you say it would be true to say that when you left, your mind became clear, and ultimately you were no longer in a prison that was clouding your own judgment or your own pathway or your vision of what you want from yourself, went through the same exact pathway?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't make a decision where I wanted to go next, or what the next role or career path was. And if I'm honest, I felt like I had my ladder leaning against a wall, and I was climbing this career ladder, and I always felt my ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. I remember you and I having a conversation. When I left, you were phoning me at lunchtimes, you were phoning me after work, heading home, and you were telling me what they were doing to you and how they were treating you, the same as me, moving goalposts and making it impossible for you. And I had almost this envision that I'd left, but I was still holding that door open a bit for you. If you'd stayed, which is so easy, but if you'd stayed, which you didn't, thankfully, and if you were still living that Tuesday that you described, what would have had cost you?
It's a lot. I've just felt I felt emotional just then, because it would have cost me my mental health, confidence. One of the main things I wanted to do, I always said to myself, if I became a father one day, I would want to come home and I want my kid to see that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. So I straight away just thought about that, coming home, and my daughter can clearly see that I'm doing something that I don't.
That you love.
Yeah, I love, but what if I was coming home and doing something that I hated? How would that affect her?
And you were this other morbid person coming through the door, not looking happy. And you're right, you don't want your children to see that, because children mirror their parents.
Yes. Yeah.
And they will see in a negative response that daddy works in an office is bad,
Yeah.
then it might not be bad for our children.
No.
Office environment might be perfectly fine for them.
Yeah.
And they may not go through what we went through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you just said there is such a beautiful way of explaining it, because you would have sacrificed your happiness and how you want your daughter to see you,
Yeah.
and what she sees you every day.
Yeah.
What belief about yourself had to die, do you think, for you to leave?
That there's no such thing as it's too late. It's never too late. That was the mentality I was wrestling with. It's too late now. I should have done that when I was like 18. No, you can do it now. The time is now. If you want to change your future, you need to take action now. You know?
Nothing changes unless you change.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a really interesting point, because and you're right, so many people will be listening or watching, and they will be thinking, oh, but I've missed the boat, or I've missed the bus,
Yes.
or it's too late for
Yeah.
me. I'm now 40, I'm now 50, I'm now 60.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you made a really valid point. And we're going to go into your story in a minute, because your story is incredibly inspiring. Because not only because of the story and what it is, and you've gone from corporate bullying and being pushed out to becoming a West End superstar as Hamilton, which is still phenomenal. And your story is going to back that up, because the 18-year-old yourself could have gone into theatre, could have gone into Hamilton or another play, but it wasn't the 18-year-old self. It was, you know, all due respect, a bit later in life.
A lot later.
You're still a spring chicken. But you're right, it's never too late.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. So what lie did you tell yourself, or what lies will you keep telling yourself that nearly kept you stuck?
I have to just find a way to be good at this. That was it. I have to fit in. I have to try and find a way to be good at this job.
Did you try and look for resources or help or extra training, or reach out to management in ways to try to keep yourself within that role?
Yeah, I did.
And it wasn't there?
It was more like it was offered, but not to the extent that I expected.
Right.
You know, so it made me a bit more like, what's the point then? You know?
Sometimes in those situations, it's often looked at you as, you should know this.
Yes. Yeah.
So why don't you have the skill set to do it? And yet the role or the goalposts or the tasks that they're wanting us to do, or whatever the situation is, or whatever your career is, should always be provided with support or help or guidance or whatever. And sometimes it's not there. And sometimes that, again, it has you feeling self-doubt about yourself. Like, why don't I know how to do that?
Yeah. What's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, did I miss something? Did I fall asleep in a meeting?
Yeah.
Was I off sick that day?
Yeah.
Right? And you have those self-doubts. What self-sabotages or self-doubts did you ultimately have? What was the biggest sabotage or self-doubt that you may have had while you were in the corporate world?
It was more articulating myself in meetings. That was something I was not comfortable with at all. And I think it was because I wasn't necessarily, it's not that I wasn't passionate about, I wasn't really passionate about what I was doing, if I'm being honest. But I felt like I was being something that I wasn't. Why am I here? I understand I have to pay bills. This is the job. Why have I chosen to do this? Or why do I need to speak in this way? And why do I need to, communicate and have these PowerPoint presentations and structure it? And it just felt so like robotic. And I'm a very creative person. I felt like I couldn't flourish and be the person that I was. And I remember a time that I was trying to sort of communicate, but it wasn't really going anywhere. And I knew it, and everyone else knew it, but I still carried on.
And the irony in it is, in your current profession now, is part of the role is to be someone different.
Yeah.
In that room.
I was constantly acting.
Yeah, but you were acting the wrong role all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And it was funny, you were just saying, like, I was having to put this performance on, and I was having to be someone I don't want to be, and I was having, and yet you do that every day.
I
on
do that every
stage.
day, yeah. It's crazy.
But you do it with something that you've already mentioned a few times, and it begins with a P, and it's the passion.
Yeah.
You do it with passion.
Yeah.
You do it because you wanted to do it.
Yes.
And you probably felt like every time you were going into a boardroom of some kind that you were under scrutiny all the time.
Yes. It felt like
Spotlight.
yeah.
The wrong spotlight was on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly felt
As
like,
opposed to being in a theatre.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's like my home, second home.
Should we go on to that then? So we've talked about what had to shift inside of you, the beliefs that died,
Yeah.
the cost of staying, which I think was, you mentioned so deeply about the cost of what your family would see and how they perceive you, and then who you had to become. You had to figure out the fears and the sabotages and the things that you had self-doubt in yourself. So
Yeah.
I think it's time for the actual story. We've got the right setting. We're in
Yeah.
at a little theatre here.
Yes.
How the hell did you end up on that Hamilton stage?
Well,
Let's hear it.
okay, so it dates back to 2006. I was 18 years old, and I had a dilemma. It was either to go to university and do an English degree, or pursue what I wanted to do, which was performing arts, theatre, acting, musical theatre. And obviously I have Ghanaian parents, African parents. They immigrated here and I was born here. And so they didn't quite understand the musical theatre element. There was no one that looked like me that was doing that kind of
Right.
stuff. Or if there was, it was like a small amount. It wasn't like today.
Sure.
And so I decided to, I'm the oldest of like 3 as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure. So I decided to enroll in an English degree, English literature. And I remember the day before, my dad sat me down and said to me, Samuel, if it's performing and drama that you want to do, you can do it. I support you. But at that point, for so long, I was like, I have to do this. I was like, okay, thank you, Dad. And I just did the English degree anyway.
Right.
But I never forgot what he said to me.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it led me down, obviously, working in the office, yeah. Then, obviously, what happened.
Yeah.
And I left, and I was just doing jobs here and there
Yeah.
to pay the bills. And then my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, took me to see The Lion King for my birthday. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's this. Like, it brought me back to what my teacher said to me years ago, what my dad said to me, you know, what I was feeling inside. I was like, because I kind of forgotten what it was. I was always creative. I said, it's this. So I spent time sort of researching open calls for theatre, like The Lion King. I went to like an open call audition, but I didn't have anything. So I set up an Instagram account and I started recording myself singing, doing like covers of songs.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was doing that to sort of create like a profile. I didn't have an agent, no experience, so that they could see what I could do. That's the reason. So eventually I saw an open call for Hamilton. And I applied for the Lion King tour and Hamilton. So I was doing quite well on both. At the time I was working in a school, just like teaching assistant and English teacher on the side.
Right.
And then I got to the finals for the Lion King tour. It was like a massive boardroom with like 20, 30 people. And I was just like, I shit myself basically. I was just like, I forgot my lines. It was the lack of experience. So I was just like, but it was great because the woman came up to me and said, you did so well to get this far with no experience. Don't give up.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, okay, thank you.
That's the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And so I went to the Hamilton. I eventually applied for Hamilton, and they called me. And people were telling me at the time, you need to have an agent, you need to do this, blah, 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 blah. I was like, do I? And prior to that, I was interviewing for another office job. And obviously it didn't go well. It was in Victoria Station. And I saw the Hamilton
The
theatre. And I was like, wow, I want to be there one day. And I went in there and I asked someone, I said, how do I get in the show? What do I need to do? She said, you need to have an agent. I said,
Right.
oh, okay. I left thinking,
There it is again, the sign. I need to have an agent.
Yeah. So, flash forward, I apply. They then call me. I'm like, okay, so they must have liked my videos and stuff. So I went in there, and they said, can you show us what you can do? So I sang Marvin Gaye's Grapevine. But then
I've seen your Instagram version of it.
have you?
It's very good.
Thank you, man.
It's one of my favourite songs.
Same. I love Marvin Gaye. He's brilliant.
So I'm quite a strong critic. You did very well.
And then obviously it's a hip hop musical, so I wrote a rap.
Oh.
And I saw their faces, they were just like,
Oh, right. So you did your own version of like Marvin Gaye's, and you did it in a rap way that was the same style as Hamilton.
Yeah.
Love that.
and then they were just like, I was like, they were like, well done. I was like, I'm just here. I mean, I don't have an experience. And they're like, no. This is why we do open calls, so that we can see people like yourself that have raw talent. And I was just like, so I kept on getting through the auditions, and then
How many auditions was there?
I did 4 in total. And then I got an email to say I didn't make it. I was like, I was heartbroken. But then they said, we think you have a lot of potential in this industry. Would you be willing to do some training? So they said at the Royal Academy of Music, it will be a scholarship. Mm-hmm. You could study for a year. But that's if you want to think about it. So I was working in a school. I thought about it for like a good 2 months. They waited for me. And then eventually I said, I don't think I want to be a teacher. I don't want to be an English teacher. Because I could see I was making the same decisions as I did years ago.
Yeah.
English degree, English teacher, scholarship. So I was like, what's the Royal Academy of Music? I didn't know. I just Googled it. I saw the alumni, like Elton John, like, what? I'm in. And then they said, oh, it'll be a Cameron McIntosh scholarship. I was like, who's Cameron McIntosh? I Googled Cameron McIntosh. What? Like a billionaire, like produces the biggest shows in the West End and Broadway. And I said, okay. So I called them and said, I'm interested. They're like, great.
Did they pay for the scholarship, or did you enroll on the scholarship kind of on behalf of their support?
Yeah, they basically paid for it.
Wow.
They paid for the course.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What an opportunity. And it wouldn't have come had you not asked. If you weren't, your perseverance of just asking around and having that passion and that drive.
Yep.
How old were you when you then enrolled onto that scholarship?
I was 31.
31.
Yeah.
It goes back to the question we were talking about earlier when you said it's never too late. Because if I was 31 and I wanted to be on West End musical, whether it was Lion King, Hamilton or whatever, the first thing I would say to myself was, I'm too old.
Yeah.
And the first thing someone else might say to me is, it's a really nice thought, Jack, but you're probably a bit old, mate. You probably missed the boat. So something inside you was driving you there. What was it that self-doubt, I'm not too old for this? What made you feel confident about going for that?
I just think I just always believed, I just knew what I was capable of, but it was just, I had to be brave enough to make the decision.
And someone giving you the golden ticket.
Yeah.
Someone gave you a chance.
Yeah. Someone believed in me, and it made me believe in myself even more. Also, I read a book called The Alchemist.
Okay.
By Paulo Coelho, I think his name is.
Right.
And he talks about everyone has a personal legend. Something that a gift of some sort, or passion that they bring forth into the world to help sort of other people. You're in service to other people using what you're passionate about. I could see the signs. It's like a similar thing, like the scholarship, and that helped too.
So how long was the scholarship for? Finish off the story for us.
It was a year.
Yeah.
Finished it, then COVID happened.
Okay, great. Yeah.
But then in that time, we had an agent showcase.
Okay.
It was online, and then I signed with my agent, Michelle Blair Management, who's awesome.
Nice.
And then once things died down, I got Prince of Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
Musical. That was my first experience in the West End, and I was like, great, now I can. And then it closed because of COVID and the pandemic. And then I was like, okay, now I can apply for Hamilton now because I've got some experience.
And you had a taster.
I've got taster, and I did the course that they helped me get. I got a first class master's degree in it.
Oh, well done! Congratulations.
I said, okay, I'm ready, and then I auditioned again. I did about 7 auditions, and eventually they were like, yeah, you've got the part. So,
man,
yeah,
incredible,
amazing, yeah.
You've played quite a few roles in Hamilton, as I know. What was your favourite role or character that you've played?
Hamilton was great because there's so much depth to him. You've got to play different sides, the fun side, the angry side, the serious side,
Right.
the sad, emotional side. But I have a soft spot, I think, for Lafayette Jefferson. That was it's pretty cool. Yeah, it was great.
Fun.
It's so fun, yeah.
I guess in some ways you may be able to see the character and the emotion and what they go through, and then relate to it in your own experiences or history and your own life.
Yeah.
In a way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so sometimes maybe you enjoy that character because you were once have been this or have experienced that in your own way, and here you are now on stage acting it out. It's kind of like a beautiful full circle.
Yeah, full circle moment. Yeah. For sure, yeah.
I love that. So that's how you got here. Tell me, what is a Tuesday like now that you are this guy on stage? What is your Tuesday versus the previous Tuesday?
Well, now I am currently in rehearsals for I'm Every Woman, which is about the life and story of Shaka Khan.
The legend.
Legend. Like,
Amazing music.
amazing music, amazing voice.
That's going to be an incredible show.
Yeah, it's great.
Back catalogue is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm basically in rehearsals for that with Alexandra Burke, who's also playing.
Alexandra Burke, the well-known performer, singer,
Yeah.
X Factor
Yeah, she won the X
finalist.
Factor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's amazing talent.
Yeah, yeah, incredible.
What's it like working with her?
Lovely. Like,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like really like easygoing, down to earth, hilarious as well.
Normal human being.
Normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
just great. Like, she's great. And
What time do you start?
10 a.m.
And then if they finish,
We finish rehearsals about 5-6 p.m.
what happens in a rehearsal? Is it like just literally going through lines?
Well, at first we do a read through
Okay.
of the whole script, and then I think in terms of learning lines, that's something we do on our own.
Okay.
So then we come in with things.
Right.
So because it's a new musical, they're creating things from scratch, and we're bringing in our own ideas. So it's very collaborative, which is amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. So
You're able to bring the character yourself,
Yeah.
your character, to more of life, how you perceive or how you see them.
yeah.
Right.
And we talk about the time frame, what they would have been like, the history as well, just so that we can get the concept correct.
Right.
And yeah, it's great. It's very collaborative. We do music, work on music.
Yeah.
We work on scenes. We work on choreography as well because it's fun. I love
Nice.
it. Yeah, it's great.
Is that your favourite choreography?
I like all three.
Okay.
Yeah, I like all three disciplines, like
Nice.
singing, dancing, and acting. I couldn't choose which one I prefer.
I mean, I guess in the way that your role, your career, all three go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Much like moving a mouse, hitting a keyboard, and answering a telephone.
Exactly that.
It's very similar.
That analogy is hilarious.
It's a different Tuesday, would we say?
Very different.
Yeah.
Very different. Yeah.
When you look ahead then, and not necessarily at roles or opportunities that you're going to have, obviously, but the life that you're actively choosing now, and what are you no longer willing to trade away, no matter how successful something may look on the outside?
Now, when I make decisions, it's always based on passion, but also family. So
Because it's no longer just you involved.
no,
Right.
and there's a lot of time I spend. So
On the role, on the career.
in the career, like in doing the shows and things like that. So there's like things that I have to always consider. I would never do like a tour for a long time or things like that. So I need like for my family to be with me, and I know that they need me to be with them, which is really important. So because I love it so much, I always have to think back to that and make sure that decisions I'm making not only they don't just affect me, but they affect my family. So I think that's the thing that I can't trade away, like time and things like that, because I'm always rehearsing or performing anyway. So.
Right.
But I do get to take my daughter on like school runs and things like that, which is great.
Well, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, yeah.
Mindset and things. What about your own personal internal trade-offs? Is there anything as a person now, who you are, what you've experienced, how you've grown as the person you've become? What trade-offs would you no longer accept if opportunities arise?
I'll no longer accept the fact that I can't focus on the negative anymore. I'm always focusing on what is positive, because I now have an understanding of cause and effect. Before, I realized, I didn't know at the time, but I realized I was constantly focusing on the effect, not realizing that the cause was creating the effect. So cause meaning how I'm thinking, what I'm saying, the decisions I'm making, the actions I take. That's the cause. And once I understood that, I realized, oh, right, I can create the reality I want based on focusing on the cause so that I see the effect, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most powerful things you said. I couldn't agree more. And I have nothing to add to that. Because you just smashed it. Should have just asked you that one question. We had a 5-minute podcast. Done. Lastly, Sam, you've been amazing as always. I want you to imagine something. So, you're walking back into that office.
Uh-oh.
Don't panic just yet. And you see your old self sitting there. And you're still in that same chair or at the same desk. You're in your same clothes, the perfectly ironed shirt and the smart little shoes.
Yeah.
You're staring back at the same screen. And you decide to walk over and sit across your old self. And he is still carrying all of it. What do you say to him?
It's a funny thing, you know, because I feel like everything happened the way it was supposed to happen, which led to this moment.
Right.
I'll probably say to him, Samuel, make your decisions based on love and what you're passionate about. Don't make your decisions based on fear. Everything will be fine. That's what I would say.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. Amazing. Done. Cheers, man.
No worries, man. Thank you.
Absolute star.
Thank you.
It's been a
man.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the new theatre.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Thank you, man. It's been great.
Thank you.